Today on Locked On Rockies, I guess you can say the Rockies played baseball this weekend.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 14th day of April in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team still somehow is the Colorado Rockies, then you're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Be part of the show. Let me know what you're thinking about here, as, this weekend certainly happened when it comes to Rockies baseball. And, it is, I guess before I even go into it, I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So I did a quick search this morning. And it turns out last year around this time, I did a podcast with a similar title. Well, not a similar title because I changed it up for this one, but off to the worst start in franchise history. That's followed up by the tie for the worst start in franchise history this year. That's interesting. And that's following up the first time the Rockies have ever lost 100 games, followed up by the first time the Rockies have ever lost back-to-back 100 loss seasons. That's following up, of course, the worst opening day loss in the history of the Rockies, mixed in with how many more times do the Rockies have to set the wrong type of history for there to be any sort of change? Because guess what, folks? Nothing's changing because of this. The Colorado Rockies are the only organization in baseball that there will be zero repercussions for your professional baseball team to go on the road against a divisional rival and get shut out in 3 straight games and only get 9 hits in the series. That's unacceptable. That's broken. It's not working. It doesn't matter how many more examples you need. And of course, we can point to the pitching staff falling off. We can point to a million things. But this right here, going up against the NL West, the first time you're introduced to the NL West, and not only are you blown out, you're flat out embarrassed. You don't even look like you're even close to being on the same level as the Padres. Your top prospect comes up and he's getting blown away on fastball. That's what happened. They said, bring your best guy up, because guess what? We're just going to throw 90s at him right in the strike zone, and he's going to swing and miss because you haven't prepared him, because your offense, your philosophy, and everything is broken. I've never, ever seen that. Never in a million years did I expect a professional baseball team could score 0 runs across a 3-game span. Well, crazy enough, the Rockies have already done it back in 2010. And now they're only 2 innings away, 3 innings if they want to be their own, 3 innings away from setting another piece of negative Rockies history. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There will be no repercussion. There will be no change. There will be nothing different with the Colorado Rockies. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. It doesn't matter how good it gets. This is the Rockies. That's it. That's how it's going to go. I mean, baffling, man. Padres are a good team. Padres has been a great team this year. Padres have been a good team to start the season. Padres have done a lot of stuff. But to go scoreless in 3 games, to now be flirting with the longest stretch of no runs scored, the second longest in franchise history, is insane. After you followed up your first losing seasons of 100 games, your longest stretch in MLB history of consistent games trailed, your worst starts, when will there be some sort of change? Because why should Rockies fans even remotely care about this year? Because I haven't talked about this a lot yet, and I've seen it pop up a few times. The Rockies can't get a top draft pick this year. They're not drafting in the top 10. They're not drafting in the top 1. They're not getting the number 1 overall pick. They just stink. What's the point, man? Like, why even? And now they're going to go and follow up that series and go play the Dodgers? And they're gonna start scoring runs there. But no, we just gotta wait and see, right? Wait and see. It's all building. It's the right things. We got the right people in the building. Come on, wait and see. I'm pretty much, honestly, after the last 2 seasons and going into this, like, that weekend's pretty much all you needed to see. It's an offense that has nothing, no pulse, no life, no energy. Other than, well, who was it? Kyle Farmer? Kyle Farmer had a good weekend this weekend. Shout outs to Kyle, keeping the Rockies from being no hit. Rockies lose Brenton Doyle to an injury there, and their offense, their small amount of offense there is completely dribbles or dries up and fizzles out. Guys are just so lost at the plate. Can't do anything. There's no confidence. There's no energy. There's nothing. Nothing. And you know, it's going to take time, but it's like, holy cow, to watch Zach Veen come up and just get destroyed by fastballs. To watch the entire lineup be just completely stagnant. For them to just come up and know that it's, this is an out. It doesn't matter. There's not a single team in baseball that is even remotely close to concerned about the Colorado Rockies offense. I mean, it wasn't just the lack of runs, it's the lack of overall hits. I mean, this is insane. Here's a couple things from Purple Row, breaking things down here. 3 consecutive shutouts were historical in all the wrong ways, as the Rockies had no answers for Padres pitching. They managed just 9 hits in the series and had 12 total base runners. They have the least amount of runs scored in baseball and have been left with a lot of soul searching to do. Per Baseball Reference, the Rockies are the 3rd team in the modern era of MLB history to score 0 runs, have fewer than 10 hits, and strike out at least 30 times in over 3 games. The last time the Rockies went 22-plus straight innings without scoring was April 10th through 14th in 2021, 26 innings. Broke that. The record is 30 innings back in 2010, and they appeared poised to break that record unless they hit the ground running in the first couple of innings in Los Angeles. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. There's no way for me to spin this. There's no there's no zippity doo-dah, this is fun, this is enjoyable. As a sports fan, this is miserable. A lot bigger things going on in the world that have been grabbing people's attention, certainly. But like when it comes to Rockies fans and the thing they care about, the thing you all care about, the reason why you tune into this show is because you care about this team. And what am I going to say that I haven't said a million times about this exact same situation? There's no accountability on this team. It doesn't matter when you constantly set the wrong type of history. It doesn't matter when you continue to be the only team in modern MLB, the only team in the modern MLB to do this, the only team in the modern MLB to do this, and it ain't good things. It's losing. You know what the Rockies are really, really good at? Losing. That's what they're really good at. Draft and develop? No. Losing. Finding pitching prospects? No, it's losing. Developing offenses? No, it's losing. That's the best thing the Rockies are good at. And it sucks. Rockies fans actually care about this team. It's a city that would really buy in. It's a team that could be exciting and interesting and still has exciting pieces. Like don't get me wrong. I'm not out. The jury's not out on all these guys. Still plenty of time in the season for stuff to bounce back. Still opportunities for these guys, certainly. But that was legitimately some of the least fun I've ever had watching baseball. It sucks so bad to root and cheer for a team that's so outmatched. Not only by their division, by the rest of baseball. I'm watching, I mean, it's just crazy. You just look at the other supposed bad teams in the league and look what they're doing. Miami's having some fun. White Sox, still got a one more win than the Rockies do. The Athletics already came in and handled the Rockies, so don't even need to point to that one because they already handled business against them. There was already an example on the field. Just like I asked last week, just like I've asked before, what's the point of watching the Rockies this year? Sure, you can see some development of the young guys. Sure. And you know what? I will give credit where credit is due to the Rockies front coaching staff and front office. They let the kids play this weekend. They did. And they've stuck with Veen even with the struggles, and they've been sticking with some of the young guys there. But it's abundantly clear that this organization has not developed these guys as in to be ready for the major leagues and ready to contribute. Because who is? Who's contributing for the Colorado Rockies right now? The starters fell off. The defense isn't as good as it should be. And the offense is non-existent. But there's no change. There's no pressure for change. It doesn't matter in Colorado. Other cities, other towns, other fan bases, and it's not even just the fan bases, to be totally honest, because if you look about the vocal Rockies fans, I guess I would say, if you look around online, it ain't a happy time. There ain't a lot of patience left. And then you go and you do this. You knew you were going to struggle against the Padres. I didn't have 0 runs with 9 hits and 30-plus strikeouts. But it doesn't matter. Wait and see. We got the right people in the building. We got the right people in charge. The door's open for Buddy Black to return. That's what we've been told, and that's what they believe. We'll keep going through this here and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked on Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better-for-you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. You can get the no shells variety if you're looking for a perfect on-the-go snack and something that won't leave a big mess at your desk. But if you like that satisfying ASMR feel of the shells variety, well, you can check out all the delicious flavors available for you. You can see what's snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch at wonderfulpistachios.com. That's wonderfulpistachios.com, wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Locked on Rockies back with you here for segment number 2 of today's episode. I'm already out of steam on this, man. Because again, where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the fact that the starting pitching is kind of fallen off, and maybe that's the big issue, or do we want us to focus on the fact that the Rockies had another reliever come into the bottom of that or back end of that ball game and walk 3 batters? Let's focus on something good that happened this weekend for now. Chase Dollander, baby. Come on now. That's a good start right there. That's a good bounce back start, and that's a good start for the Rockies to see from him. This is a really intriguing spot there for him. Really awesome to see. This is a game that was only 2-0 there, and it was just a couple of solo shots. The same thing that dinged him in that first one, that first start there. The solo shots. It was the same thing there, and I think that's like kind of the reminder, right? Where it's like, hey, your stuff is good, it's great, but when you miss at this level, you can get punished for it. And again, look who hit the home runs. I mean, these are two guys that are no strangers to dropping bombs here. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Hayward were the only two to get something going. But in that game, the Padres were held to only 3 hits there in that entire time. But literally nothing. I mean, the slow start. I know Ezequiel Tovar's hip's a little banged up, but I mean, Michael Tolia's painful start. And of course, the fact that Zach Veen it was just served a healthy diet of fastballs and did nothing, but it's just down the list. What's Chris Bryant batting this year so far? Let's see. Chris Bryant is batting 154, 195, 205 with an OPS of 400. He's 1 RBI this year and 6 hits. Aircraft carrier in the middle of the lineup there. Let's do, who else do we got? Hey, again, shout outs to Kyle Farmer. He had a good week. He's sitting there saying, what's up, guys? Where were you? What's going on? Ryan McMahon, 236 average this year, 295 OBP, is slugging of 382, and OPS is 677. I mean, just barf, man. Barf. Not a single hit for Ryan McMahon in that series, but what he did have was 5 strikeouts and a ground into the double play. I just don't know how at some point, it has to be, I mean, it can't just be the guys are sitting there and just saying, oh, man, woe is me. Like, this stinks. We stink. Nothing's good. Eventually, you have to start looking at and asking the questions of, why are the Rockies so ill-prepared? Why are the Rockies so far behind? And again, if you're uncomfortable with, this is just evaluation here. And again, it is weird to say this, but why is the leash so long for this coaching staff? I truly don't understand. Again, I know it's a different comparison, but the Denver Nuggets firing their coach right before the end of the year because the players had enough. It does make me ask the same type of question. They might like him. It might be a fine clubhouse, but there can't be a ton of confidence in the coaching staff in that clubhouse. They might have respect. They might like each other, yada, yada, yada. But like, there has to be frustration building from the players' side, because this is just the status quo for the Rockies, and this can't be the case. There are too many important young guys that are getting important at bats and important development right now that you just can't you just can't afford to mishandle the development of these guys. And like, it's just, when does the question start being, hey, why do we do things this way? Why are we doing it this way? What's this approach? I mean, it literally looks like they did nothing, of course, in terms of changing things up in the offseason, but it literally just looks like, hey, how do we follow up our historic strikeout season? Do it all again. Run it back. Do the same stuff. Same exact thing. There's nothing different about their approaches. I mean, we're watching Tovar take more first pitches. Great. But I'm watching a team that struggled on offense that year. I'm watching a team that struggled on offense the year before that, and keep going. This is what Evan Lang writes on Purple Row right here. Again, for the offense, the Rockies' offense is broken again. And he wrote it in 20. This is how he starts writing the article. I wrote it in 2022. I wrote it in 2023. I wrote it in 2024. And now I'm writing it again in 2025. That's 4 straight seasons of this being a huge problem. And it doesn't matter how early and how young and how short this season is. The Rockies' offense is broken, possibly beyond repair. It's horrendous. It's horrible at bats. It's not timely hitting. It's completely being outmatched and blown away by the opposition on the mound. And it's been years. We're now entering what probably will be a 5th straight season of offensive struggles. Yet nothing, no change, nothing, nada. The Rockies did make a coaching change in this stretch before when it came to hitting coach, But what has Bam Bam done since he's been here? Where is the big where is the big jump for these guys? Where are the Blake Street Bombers? Where are the guys who hit doubles in the gaps? When will there be any sort of a thing for that will stick into the brains of the Rockies organization and say this isn't working? Why, oh why can we continue to permit the Rockies making horrible history without any repercussion, without any thought that any change was going to happen? If the Phillies, if the Yankees, if the Red Sox, if the Diamondbacks, if the Padres, if these small other teams that don't have the big market, other teams, they get off to the worst start in franchise history after following up their two worst seasons in franchise history, they are not given the same leeway. And it's weird and strange to just be sitting here and being like, oh, these people should be fired. Fire these people. Fire these people. Why? It's weird that I'm sitting here saying that these people need to be let go from their jobs because it's a weird thing to say and a weird thing to discuss. Maybe if it ain't firing, it's at least do something differently. Show us something different. Prove it to us. Demonstrate it. Put it out on the field. Do something. Because what they've been doing and what the status quo for the Rockies has been for years now is bad. It ain't working. But then when you hear from the people in charge, they say, no. We got it. It's working. What do you mean it ain't working? We couldn't try any of those other things. They ain't going to work. And the other things that we know ain't going to work, we've already tried those. We're not going to give that. This is what works. The Rockies sit there and say, that manager got a team to the playoffs 2 times in a row. He's going to do it again. Now, I ignore the fact that the last 7 years have been straight losing seasons, including the worst losing seasons in Rockies franchise history. No, ignore that. Remember, we made the playoffs in back-to-back years. Just don't talk about that big move or trade that we did that completely altered the path of this. Don't want to bring that up. I know it's a rant. It's a full rant today, folks, but like, I don't get great analysis from you from the slop that was this weekend's games. And I'm not going to pump you up full of hopium and copium when the Rockies are about to go to L.A. against a Dodgers team that's pissed off that the Cubs smacked them around in their own ballpark and that they're sitting not at the top of the NL West. That's not the state of the Rockies. The state of the Rockies right now is that the offense is non-existent. Is that the starters aren't going to be consistent enough, that they are going to be good enough, but they're not going to be consistent enough to be able to navigate a complete total lack of offense. And it doesn't matter what these results are because there's no pressure within the organization for anything to change because it's all good. All good for some people and within the organization. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I proved wrong. I hope that this is just a slow start and the Rockies unlock something deep down in their core and they become a super exciting, fascinating team after this stretch. But I can't just sit there and hope anymore. I've been doing that for 6 seasons and hope that this is better. I spent all offseason thinking, no way. Again, I fell for the same exact thing that I fell last year. No way this team is worse than last year's team. No way. We got the pitching staff. We're good. Here we are, yet again, doing another podcast about the Rockies' worst start in franchise history. Awesome. Let's take a quick break, put a bow on it, and wrap up today's episode of Locked On Rockies. But first, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When you start using Monarch, you're going to realize just how much you're spending on food delivery, streaming services, all that good stuff. It's going to help you budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. And you can do it with your partner as well because they make it smooth and easy to have personal accounts that are shared, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Locked On Rockies podcast here, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. And I know how annoyed I sound by reading my little rigmarole. It is not with you, the lovely everydayers and Rockies fans that spend your time tuned in here to the show and hanging out with us. It's just to the point where I'm annoyed with myself. I know that the Rockies, there's possible upside. I know that it's not the most engaging listen to just listen to a guy ramble on about the Rockies, but I mean, I don't know what else to, I don't know how else to feel. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's just any comments here from the Locked On Rockies comments. And we had a lot from Drew Rockwell here. I think he was just live commenting on some of the stuff. But this is but here's what Kurt Thornton says. This team may challenge the 2024 White Sox for futility. Let's see. Drew Rockwell. I'm trying to see. He's a Yankees fan. Padres will not win the division. I don't know who talking about cheating. Anyway, yeah, but not a lot of it there. So, but yeah, let me know what you think, folks. I mean, let me know what's on your mind at this point. Am I overreacting? It's so amazing to be talking about this after like on the heels of because again, it's a big deal to me as the Nuggets have a thrilling end of the season, even with all the change, and they're looking at who knows what could happen in the postseason, but at least in the postseason, the Avs made some huge moves, and now they're going up against one of the moves they made in one of the most drama-filled storylines of the postseason. There's just so much intrigue and interest about the other teams, and these other teams have gone through being really bad at certain points. Both the Nuggets and the Avalanche at certain times have been the worst or bottom of the barrel of the league. Broncos as well. I mean, Broncos could fit into that mediocre thing for years, really up until this last season. Of course, you could say, but what's the difference between those teams and the Rockies? All of those teams have done massive changes recently to overhaul things. Not as familiar with the Avs, but still from there has been a lot of up and downs. Of course, the Nuggets firing the GM and coach in the middle of the season, and the Broncos getting a complete, having to go through a complete new ownership, complete all that stuff. Massive change has come to all of those teams, and staring in the face of a season where the Rockies could have started a new chapter. They instead doubled down, brought back the same people, ran back the same thing, cut payroll, and expected things to all just be good. Wait and see, hope and tell, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's kind of the good times are coming. It's just amazing to see the difference between those teams and this team. And just how differently run and how different of philosophies there are between the other major men's teams in Colorado versus the Rockies. See what the Rockies do against LA, I guess. We'll see what the Rockies do against the team that's got loaded full of talent We'll see if this is somehow this is the series that awakens something within the Rockies, and we'll see if they avoid setting the longest scoreless streak in Rockies history, because 0 runs scored off of 9 hits and over 30 strikeouts against the Padres this weekend. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back in action tomorrow with more Locked On Rockies, so don't miss out on that. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB with our guy Sully. And, of course, more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, Buffs, all available for you here on the Locked On Rockies podcast, or not the Locked On Rockies podcast, but the Locked On Podcast Network. Until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.